And we are back. You are listening to Local Biz Now. I am Joe Vagnone, and this is News Talk WSIC, 105.9 FM, 100.7 FM, 1400 AM. I am Joe Vagnone. This is the number one talk business show in all the villes. I mean, from Statesville all the way to Huntersville and all the towns in between. I've actually been saying for 9 years, it is the number one business show in all of North Carolina. I just got no way to measure it. So I'm throwing down the gauntlet. If you've got more than 775 small business people and community leaders interviewed, and you've got over 350 interviews that are on the tubes, and you are live on the book, then I'll be more than happy to consider you part of that list. But until then, I'm taking the title, I'm holding the reins, and we appreciate you being here every Friday morning. This is WSIC, where your business matters. We have co-hosts every single month, and this month has been an exceptional co-host, Kendall Creek. She is the founder of IQ Bookkeeping, and Kendall has bought a client and friend of hers. Kendall, now I know this is a first, but I'm going to let you introduce Larry, so do your best.
Okay, so
yeah, do your best.
oh my gosh,
doesn't all have to be true.
There's just so much to say about Larry Farber. He has started multiple businesses. He is I don't want to say prodigy, but he is definitely a gifted musician, and just an established player in Charlotte. And currently the owner of Middle Sea Jazz Club downtown and Music with Friends, which is a really great company. So welcome, Larry.
It's my honor to be up here with you guys. And I've been really impressed with this first 40 minutes. I know my rate is going up tomorrow morning. That's what I'm really concerned about.
Larry, thank you, my friend. I obviously we don't know each other. We've never met, and I trust Kendall's judgment when she said, "Joe, this guy's the real deal. Let's have him on the show." And the first thing I did was go to your website, and it was just impressive. And it clearly defined this man, right? As I'm looking at your website, I'm saying this guy's been around the block. I mean, you could just tell that, right? That's certainly not what the website intended to do. But Larry, that's what I do for a living, right? So I could read between the lines. Tell me a little bit about your background. Now I can say, Larry, you don't have to go back to 1963, but give me a little bit of your background.
Well, and 1980 was a good starting point for you, not me. I grew up in Charlotte, and right off the bat, music became a big part of my life. I started playing piano at 12 years old with my buddies and friends, and began playing in local bands in Charlotte, beach music, Motown, a little bit of that. Went to Chapel Hill, stayed in music, loved booking bands for fraternities, sororities, little things around Chapel Hill. Got out, was on my way to law school.
Whoa. You created a production company while you were in college? Production is not the word I was looking for. Promotion company while you were in college?
Yes, and I was sort of the go-to guy to help. Not only my band would play for events, but other people would seek me out to help them find groups. So my evolution in the music business was sort of rooted from the early days. But because I felt like maybe music wasn't going to be the best career for me, I thought, I'm going to become an attorney. But my heart was never in it. Decided to take a year off from going to law school, then started working with a local agency in Charlotte, North Carolina in 1973 called Hit Attractions. They booked.
Now you're starting to show your age.
I am definitely. Please don't look on Facebook. And actually, we booked a wonderful group from Statesville, the Catalinas, which is one of the best local regional bands, and many, many others. So from that point, I stayed with that company for 13 years. 1986, I helped create a company called East Coast Entertainment. And now East Coast has 13 offices around the country. I retired from booking and managing groups in 2019. And during that time, Joe, I wasn't just satisfied, per what we just talked about, with just being an agent. So I started some other things. We had a thing in Charlotte called Alive After 5. That was a after-hour series where folks on Thursday night would leave work, go downtown Charlotte, hear music. That concept.
Whoa. We got the man that started Live After 5 right here on WSIC.
There you
Right.
go.
I remember it well.
Yeah, there you go.
Me
It's a
too,
place
yeah.
for people to meet, have fun, hear music, and a lot of times meet their future spouses. And so that concept itself became something that other cities would do, and I was proud of being part of that. Also, during that period of time, I had this sort of epiphany about a thing called Music with Friends, and that started in 2007. It's been something so near and dear to me because that is a concept where we bring these wonderful world-class legends to an intimate venue. In Charlotte, we've used Spirit Square, which was an old church,
Right.
Algonquin Theater, 600 people, and you would see the likes of Crosby, Stills, Nash, Doobies, Chicago, Darius Rucker, Dinah Roth, Aretha Franklin, all that I have written about in this little book called Noted Memories, all the stories that go along with that.
Hold that book up one more time on Facebook. For
Yeah,
a minute
we
so
sold well under 400 copies, by the way.
Noted
So that's right.
Memories.
There you go, Noted Memories. But it truly, Music with Friends has been a lifelong dream because we have these artists that we all grew up with coming and playing this old church downtown Charlotte, and they tell their stories not just through their music, but they look in the eyes of the audience and are able to talk about what inspired them to write a song and to play these songs. So we've done that. It grew to, as you were talking about, I thought I was happy that we had it in Charlotte, but
Right.
no, that wasn't good enough for me. So we went to Charleston, South Carolina, Nashville, Tennessee, and Houston,
Because
Texas.
you just can't stay small, right? He just can't, right?
He
As
sees-
he's
he sees
talking,
it
he's flippantly, skipping the fact that he's operating a business in 13 different cities. I got you. Okay.
And at the same time, I was juggling my real job of East Coast entertainment, booking bands, managing, playing in a band, which I did until about 5 years ago because once you're a musician and it gets in your blood, it's hard to give it up. And then hopefully being a good dad and raising a family. So I was juggling 3 or 4 balls at one time, but loving it. And so I continued doing that. And thankfully, we still have Music with Friends going in Charlotte and in Houston. But the sort of last bucket list thing that I wanted to do was to be able to, it's like you and the Dolphins and your love. This was not about money, and that was what was the most fun part. I wanted to leave my legacy to Charlotte by opening a world-class jazz club. So along with my son Adam and a lot of great partners and friends, we opened Middle C Jazz in November of 2019. Of course, 3 months later, we began that pandemic.
Right.
But
Boy, your
it was great
timing was just
great timing.
exceptional.
Absolutely. And so we started Middle C Jazz, and that was, again, I told my partners, investors, we will hopefully recover our money and make a few bucks. But this is to give back to Charlotte so that we could be proud. We have all kinds of arts in our city, but I wanted something that would mirror the great, great jazz clubs of the world. And I honestly believe now, certainly with your help, Kendall, we have a great club going that people now know about it all over the country. So that, Joe, it sort of brings you up to date on what I've been doing.
Let's take a break. When we come back, I want you to go to the website. It's just absolutely phenomenal, middlecjazz.com. Let's take a break. When we come back, I want to hear about the club itself. I'm going to pull up the website. It just looks awesome.
Beautiful.
My pleasure.
You are listening to Local Biz Now. I am Joe Vagnone. If it's Friday morning, we're talking with exceptional people. And right now, Middle C Jazz is on our minds. We'll be right back. And you are listening to Local Biz Now. I am Joe Vagnone. We are talking with Larry Farber with Middle C Jazz. Larry, Kendall is giving me the evil eye because I skipped over the CEO random approved questions because I'm not going to ask them. You got your own interesting story, and I want to hear it, my friend. So I'm skipping it. I don't care what she says. I'm moving on.
I'll come back. How about that?
Okay,
There you
we'll
go.
come back. That'll be great, my friend. So I'm looking at your website. Here's what I want you to do. Try and describe what I can expect when I show up there, right? So kind of walk me through it, because one of the things I see is this atmosphere that's just awesome.
You know, what you can expect is to have an incredible time and to love music and hear it in a way, and I mean this, that you've never heard it. So my goal in opening Middle C was to create a club where the acoustics were perfect. I wanted to spend my money on a great sound system, great lighting, acoustical treatment all over the club. And when you had that, you set yourself up to be successful. But that alone wouldn't do it. So we wanted the club to be beautiful, to reflect music, the history of music, and for everybody to feel comfortable there with our seating, and of course with service, with food, with all the amenities that we needed.
My background's in hospitality,
Right.
and I look at this. This isn't easy. I mean, it takes somebody that's got a background like mine to say, "Man, this takes a lot of time to set up, and it really takes some time to actually make it grow," right? And so a guy like you with the years of experience in the industry, you kind of got a jump start. So you could pick up the phone and call some people in the industry and kind of get this thing. Walk me through what it's like to start a jazz club in the middle of a pandemic. I mean, of the years of experience that a guy like you've had, right? You sure didn't run across that. So walk me through that, what you did through that.
Well, first of all, in order to open up any successful business, what I wanted to do was to learn and to research. And so I spent decades going to these wonderful jazz clubs around the country, seeing what they did right, and also learning by talking to the owners what they did wrong. So that had cataloged and chronicled in my head, and I knew sort of what I thought would make it work. Now, as we've all said, those things evolve and change. I thought I knew a lot about programming.
The world changed. The
world changed. And so we opened up in November 2019, like I said, and we were off to a booming start, and then everything hit. And what we had to do was to call an audible, and I wanted to keep the brand alive. I wanted to keep music alive. And I thought more than ever, people needed music to heal, to feel good. So we started streaming. So we put in cameras into our club and brought two of our most successful artists that are local folks, Noel Freeline and the wonderful Maria Howell, who was in the movie Color Purple and was discovered by both Quincy Jones and Oprah. And every week they would do a session from our club, take requests, and people would we were up to 11 or 12 people, by the way, but people would send in their favorite songs. And what we knew was this wasn't about making money. It was about really bringing joy to these folks. And I can tell you by reading the Facebook comments that we did a good thing. And more importantly, when the world reopened, those same people came to our club and they got to hear and experience the music live again. So we treaded water, we adjusted, and we set ourselves up. What I wasn't going to do, Joe, was close the doors.
Right.
And I knew that we would sustain losses during that period. But I thought if we built loyalty and we showed the world that we weren't going to give up, which is not my nature, that when things got better, that we would be off to a booming, we would resume where we were. And I can honestly tell you, and my bookkeeper can tell you, that I'm sort of amazed each month that we're making money, and we have. And I think it's because we didn't take any shortcuts. We were good to our employees, our bands, and we developed these great customers during a lean time.
So exactly where is this, Larry? Tell people exactly where it's at.
It's 300 South Brevard, and for those that live in our area, it's right across the street from both the NASCAR Hall of Fame and the Convention Center. We're on the ground level. It is a beautiful, beautiful club.
Why did you choose that location?
That's a great question, because first of all, it was just an empty downstairs shell, and I knew that I could turn it into the kind of space I wanted. But it was downtown, but off the beaten path, where it was almost like a a destination
Right.
where you could come. We had great parking. We have good parking. It's not in the middle of Trade and Tron, but it's near great hotels, as I said, convention center, and it's just accessible to so many folks.
So tell me about the food. Tell me about that, because that, this total package is what I noticed you had, which is something that just sort of is near and dear to my heart.
Joe, you're gonna appreciate this. As I told you, the lesson I learned from all these other club owners was to focus on the music, focus on the sound, and that food and drink were necessary, but they were an accommodation to what was most important in music. So what we did was we wanted to have enough items that it would appeal to people, but not so much that this became this full service restaurant with steaks and lobster.
Top is kind of a
exactly, and that's been a success. And also, we didn't want distractions with people eating and forks and knives going the whole time. It's about the music. Food and drink's important, but it's about the music.
Interesting. So, what advice would you give somebody that is thinking about starting something now? What advice? There's somebody out there listening right now that they have this dream in their mind's eye, like you. For 10 years, they've been thinking about it. Give them some advice.
It's the same advice that Kendall and I talked about driving up here. It really is true that I've had dreams to, whether starting a Live After 5, Music with Friends, Middle C, a speakers division within our company. You have this dream, and so there are going to be naysayers, but you really you write down what the obstacles are going to be, and you just try to take each one one step at a time, and don't listen to the naysayers. Listen to your heart. Fight hard for it. You do have to know sometimes when you're up against a battle, but the greatest thing, whether I'm part of creating a fundraiser or a new business, is to see that dream come true. With hard work, with perseverance, and don't listen to people that tell you can't do it. Trust your heart.
So, walk us through the difference between operating a business in Charlotte, North Carolina, and a multi-state operation. What's different about those two things, if any?
Well, that's, again, a great question. I think the biggest challenge that I found, and it's not about me, but I'm a sort of hands-on person, so I like to greet everybody that's coming to the club, make them feel special, make them feel like they're my friend, because I want them to be my friend. Music with Friends was just that. It's music with your friends. So what I found for me was I couldn't touch and feel all those people all the time like I wanted in other cities, so you tried to replicate yourself. And when you do that, sometimes you're very successful, and sometimes they don't have that same love and passion. So for me, my businesses are very personal, very hands-on, as you talked about in hospitality.
So I talked to somebody about this concept of music and dinner. Do you think it helps or hurts if there were some others to set up some operations, say in North Mecklenburg and say South Charlotte, so that the music could do a circuit, so that it's easier to get help? Most people don't have the connections you have. So getting them to their operation, get high-end, high-caliber people, seems to be a challenge. Would it help if there were more around, or that thought is just sort of not a strong one?
No, I always feel like that good operations and good competition helps us all. I'm not only not afraid of it, I think it elevates everybody. Some people are concerned that you would be the only game in town. But what I found in Charlotte, there's other series. There's the Beckler Beckler Jazz Series. There's Jazz Arts, and they're all good people doing good things. And the more great artists that have a platform and opportunity, I think the better.
Well, I mean, from my experience, it's the street with all the restaurants that stays busy.
There you go. There you go.
You don't. Everybody doesn't have to sell pizza, right? But the concept is that's where I want to go.
Go to New Orleans, and there are 10 jazz clubs within 4 or 5 blocks, and guess what? They're all going well. So that's my vision for Charlotte.
Kendall, you have not asked him one single question.
You want to keep your job?
1 minute left. ask your friend one final question. We got 1 minute.
Oh man, I'm sitting here in awe. I'm just,
Larry is a all kind of guy.
he really
isn't he?
is. He really is. I'm inspired by the vision.
Thanks, Larry,
which
so
I
much.
always have been. But I'm excited to see where it goes.
Thank you. And it was a pleasure and honor to be here with
We're going to get you
everybody.
back, or we might do a live show
We could do
inside his.
Yes. Come
That's
to the
what we
club.
should do.
That would
Middle
be
C.
that'd be exceptional.
We'll have a little music going, and
Oh yeah.
It'll be
totally.
perfect.
That would be exceptional.
Yes.
You are listening to Local Biz Now. I am Joe Vagnone, and this has been a spectacular show. Kendall Creek is the owner and founder of IQ Bookkeeping, and Larry Farber is the man, the master, the legend in Charlotte, North Carolina, Middle C Jazz. Check it out. We'll see you next week.